Howdy guys, it's your Huggable Hipster here, and welcome back to another Soulsborne Academy. Grab a coffee, grab a chair, and don't pay mind to the hunters, they're just here for your protection. So on today's episode of Soulsborne Academy, we are going to be diving into the hardest build versus the easiest build. And you guys might not expect my answer for what I think the hardest build might be. Keep in mind that this is all opinion based, so if you comment saying, oh, this isn't the hardest build, that's fine. It's your opinion. There is no objective hardest build, easiest build, although I feel like everyone's going to agree with me whenever I say what the easiest build is going to be. We're going to go with the easiest build first because I feel like it really doesn't have much layers to dive into, although I'm not going to be showing any footage of my different builds and stuff like that. That's going to be reserved for another video. The easiest build? Being a mage, any sort of magic, any magic that you can conjure up as OP as possible, that is by far the easiest build. I guarantee you, I would probably have a much more difficult time in Demon Souls if I were not a mage build, hands down. Another one that I think is incredibly easy is if you are doing a combo of strength and magic. If you are strength and magic, you are unstoppable. You're unstoppable. That's it. And when it comes to Demon Souls, mage, any kind of magic build, anything that has to do with magic is stupidly OP. Like, when you guys see or I should say probably the last 2 episodes of Demon Souls that I have coming out, oh lord, I ended up getting the boss, the Penetrator. Sorry, I can't, I'm such a child. I am such a child right now. That boss I got in one go. Same goes for the Leechmonger. Same goes for the what was that other guy? Same goes for the old monk. That one I got it in one go. And no, I was not on online co-op or anything like that. For whenever I do reviews and stuff like that, I like to stay offline. That way I don't get invaded, and that way my tendency doesn't go down. Although it already did pretty much to pure black tendency in the Valley of Defilement, but that's another story entirely. So yeah, magic is just stupid OP in Demon Souls. Same goes for, I feel like, to an extent, not fully, but to an extent, Elden Ring. They nerfed one of them, which kind of has me disappointed. I forget which one it was, but I know that they nerfed at least a few of them. But whenever I see magic in any Souls game, I know that, okay, if I want to have more of a relaxed time with a game, I will go for magic. The first time I ever played Dark Souls, now that I know what they are, I was both strength and dex. So anytime that I see any kind of strength build, any kind of melee build, whenever it comes to a Souls game, it is going to be a little bit harder because you have to get right up in the face of the boss or any character that you're fighting. What makes magic incredibly easy is that you are fighting from a safer distance a lot of the time. And the thing is that I feel like magic is so incredibly broken when it comes to Dark Souls 1 Remastered especially, that whenever I tried it just to see what it was like, I didn't bother using it because whenever I would use the magic in Dark Souls 1 Remastered, it wouldn't even go to the character that I was trying to aim it at. So I didn't want to be frustrated. I was like, you know what, I'm not going to use the magic. So I stuck with being strength and dex. When I hit Dark Souls 3, I was just pure strength. And that is probably one of the more difficult builds to get, but we'll get to that in a moment. So let's talk about what the hardest build is. The hardest build, at least in my view, from my experience with Souls games, is base level, no upgrade, no healing. So I'm talking primarily right now about the Dark Souls games. I'm not talking about Bloodborne or Sekiro, even though Sekiro really technically isn't a Souls game. It has Souls concepts, but it's not really a Souls game. It's one of its own creations. It's one of its own things. Bloodborne, you could technically do this with, but whenever it comes down to it, Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, you are going to find yourself in a much more difficult spot if you have no healing, no upgrades, and you go in there just as bare as the day you were born. If you go just with your base level with literally nothing attached to you, you will have a very difficult time when you are starting in the game. Now, this isn't the only thing, my friends. This is not the only way to make the game difficult. You could just do a base bow run. You could do a poison only run. You could do a whirligig only run when it gets to New Game Plus. There are so many ways to make the game incredibly difficult for the player. Now, another thing that I really like doing when it comes to builds in any Dark Souls game is going with strength and pairing it with something else. So even though I did this without knowing it for the first time I ever played Dark Souls, being a strength and dex build, I feel like it's so important now that I look back on it to pair strength with something else. That way, if you have to, you can default and use a melee weapon. So for example, originally I was going to be a strength and magic build in Demon Souls, but I got to a level that I didn't think I was going to get to with my magic. I didn't think I was going to get to level 42 when I was only at mid game. So you're technically supposed to be at level 50 if you really want to be very beefy in your magicianship, if you will. So at that point, I just decided, let's just go pure magic. let's just go for it. Let's do it. And I made my magic into a 50. My strength, I think right now is at a 17, and my vitality is at a 15. I'll have to double check that. But originally I wanted my strength and my magic to be both at 50. That way, if I could use melee, I had the choice to. It was there. And you gotta remember, that's what I'm originally very comfortable with. So doing magic, I only just started using magic when I hit Elden Ring. So using magic is still somewhat new for me, but it's really cool to just see those enemies just crumble underneath your feet. It's really awesome. And it's so obnoxious too. I love being obnoxious in a Souls game. So that's whenever it comes to easier or harder builds, it's always going to vary. And it's opinion based for me. So, you know, someone else might say, oh, your easiest build is going to be a dex build, or it's going to be a strength build, or someone's hardest build is going, I don't know, to be a dex build combined with sneaking around, you know. But you guys, that was it for today's video. Let me know down in the comments below, what is your easiest versus hardest build? I would love to read them. I feel like at the end of the day, as long as you're having fun with these games, that is just all that matters. That's the core principle of Souls games, is to have fun with them. I mean, hell, I love being obnoxiously strong in any kind of Souls game, whether that be Bloodborne, whether that be any Dark Souls game that I come across. As long as I'm obnoxious and strong and running away for just dear life, I am perfectly fine. But you guys, if you all like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every day here on YouTube. May you find your worth in the waking world, dear hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Umbasa.